What is going on, everyone? We're back with the Helms Files episode 3. We're just going to be going over some training footage today. As you might have seen in my last episode, I went over my block of 4 weeks and basically how it builds up in volume. I undulate my reps. I'm training bench 5 times a week, front squat 3 times a week, sumo deadlifts once, RDL once, ending it all with what I just am doing this week, which is an AMRAP. So this is my very last week of training. This is a bench press session, second to last day. I did 130 kilos for 6 reps here. That's 286 for 6. Also did some weighted chins. Basically, this was my hardest week. I got most of the training from that day recorded, and then I also got the next day of training recorded, which you'll see, and then I got my half day of AMRAPs. So basically the way I do my very last week where I do the AMRAPs is I go from 5 days of training to 4, and I just took the first 2 days as basically a deload where I drop my reps by, drop my sets by 1, and then for the things that are cluster repped, I just drop those down to about half of the total amount of reps I'm doing, and then just drop the load very slightly, stay away from failure. And then the last 2 days, I put a day between them. On day 1, which was yesterday, I AMRAPed on front squat, bench press, and weighted chins, which you'll see here. And then which you won't see, which I haven't done yet, is I'll be doing an AMRAP on sumo deadlift, box squat. Box squat will actually just be a conservative max. And then overhead press. So yeah, just going over a few of the things you've seen thus far. Doing my weighted chins, bench press. You notice I'm pretty far out from a comp as far as powerlifting, so I'm just doing touch and go. The hamstring curls here you're seeing here, I do single leg, and that's because of a hamstring tear I got back in 2009. And it's just to try to work on balancing out my strength. And it's still not there yet. My left leg is maybe 80% as strong as my right in terms of load or reps. But I just keep hammering away and making sure that I train them unilaterally, just so that the results of the tear don't get worse and worse and worse over time. You'll also notice that I did my overhead press work, just cleaning it off the ground and doing some pressing. I just do that anytime the rack is full. Here I'm doing cable rows and just banging away at the reps using a double progression. As you noticed on the weighted chins, I have what's called the Brute Belt, which is a really cool invention by one of our old athletes. Great guy, and it's just a really cool like engineering minded belt. It's got a bunch of clips that you can use. You can attach weight in the back, the front, the sides. Really nice, and I use Versa grips on my rowing and pull downs just so I can really focus on my back. This exercise is the round back extension. Credit to Brett Contreras on this one. You try to round your back so that you can focus more on your glutes. It kind of deactivates some of the lumbar extensors and helps you focus more on your glutes. I've noticed that ever since I haven't been able to squat to depth, that I have actually had some glute atrophy, some astrophy as I like to call it. So I've been throwing in some more glute-specific training to try to counteract that. And I've been doing high reps with these just because it's very difficult to load them and do any kind of low rep work. But yeah, great movement. The 45-degree back extension with basically a rounded back. And then this is the second day. You'll notice now I'm wearing the blue Barbell One version of my sexy metrosexual shirt. My wife absolutely hates these shirts, but I love them. Thank you, John Bossy from Barbell One. And this is basically the heaviest I got in the cycle. This is 3x4 with 135 kilos, or 297 pounds. And I was really pleased with how this moved. This was actually the day after I did the 3x6 with 130. So my body is very well acclimated to the high frequency. I don't lose much in the way of strength. But as you can see, that last one was quite the grinder. So yeah, I was very, very pleased with how my third hardest week of training went. This is me deadlifting, sumo deadlifts 225, so that's 495 pounds. I was going for a triple here. You'll notice that I am pulling with relatively high hips. This is something I've been playing with and for about the last year, and I'm finding it's pretty successful. It just makes the lockout a little bit harder, and I kind of pull with a slightly rounded upper back start position, high hips, and you'll notice it gets a little bit slow at the top, but that's just but it helps me a lot in terms of the total amount of load I can lift. And I got a little bit out of position on this third one, but I was overall pretty happy with this set. All right, so moving on, as you can see, big grinder there. Moving on as I get into the last little bits of stuff here. Calf raises. This is kind of a cool thing. Those of you who watched the 2-minute tips by Brad Loomis recently, you'll notice he talks about how he does his calf raises. And I do them the same way. This is something we teach at some of our seminars. That basically the Achilles tendon is one of the longest pieces of elastic tissue in the body, and it's very good at storing contractile strength, or rather, not really contractile strength, non-contractile force. It's great for a stretch shortening cycle, meaning, that's why people can jump nice and high. They have Achilles tendon, they do a little quarter squat, they jump, and they get a lot of range. So the calf, it's difficult to get the concentration of the movement into the calf if you're going very quickly on a calf raise, because the Achilles tendon stores so much force. So you'll notice I pause at the bottom before coming back up, and this has really helped me feel calf raises in the calf itself. Just something to help me try to bring my subpar calves up to just slightly subpar, and still in that fight. But yeah, good little tip of the trade to try to get the calves to feel a little more. And here's my just obligatory proof that I am actually, training for the bodybuildings. I'm doing calf raises and now bicep curls. So yeah, this is no joke here, people. I'm coming for you. So yeah, I do curls, direct arm work about once per week. And I notice I get a fair amount of bicep growth from rows, pull downs, and considering I'm doing chin-ups twice, rows twice, I think adding in curls once is plenty, and my arms have actually gotten bigger, so I'm pretty happy with that. I don't need a whole lot of direct arm work, and I bench 5 times a week, so I also only do triceps once. So now we get into the AMRAPs. So this is 140 kilos, 309 pounds on front squats. You'll notice my front squats, I keep very, very knee dominant. I try to stay upright as much as possible. I actually try to break at the knees. And if you view this directly from the side, I'm just about hitting parallel at the bottom. Some reps get to about meet depth, but this really helps me not aggravate my hip. I get a lot of range of motion about the knee, and I've noticed they've been a great builder of size for my quads, and I was very happy with this. With that set, I got 4 reps at 140 kilos, which I'm pretty damn sure is a lifetime PR or close. I got 315 pounds, which is like 143 kilos for 3, so 140 for 4 has got to be close. So, but nonetheless, I'm very happy with it. Here's my bench press, and this went really well. This is also 309 pounds. The first one just flew off my chest, and so did the second and third, and I was thinking, man, I'm going to get 5. And that was actually what I was going to go for, which would definitely be a lifetime PB. Hell, 4 would, but you'll notice that right at the top there, I hit a big stick. And so I had a feeling, you know what, let's just break it down there. That might have been like a 9.1 or 9.2, but I don't go for reps that I don't think I can get. There's a possibility I could have really grinded out a 5th, but I was very happy with 4. And then for weighted chins, I've been training with body weight and 15 kilos, so I strapped on 20 and was able to get 6. I was really happy about it. And that is basically how the week went. Tomorrow I'll be doing the rest, but overall I'm very pleased with this week of training. So yeah, that's just a little bit of insight into the world of me. All right, folks. See you next time on the Helms Files.